Do you ever just feel like no matter how hard you try, nothing you do is ever good enough? You apply to jobs, you get rejected. You apply for gigs, you get rejected. You're in a relationship for a little while, then they break up with you because you're supposed to be different or they thought you were something else. You try to better yourself, you try to improve yourself, you try to like genuinely work on your life. Years pass and then you kind of feel like you're in the exact same place as you were before. And it's very frustrating. Like it's extremely discouraging to kind of watch years of your life pass and feel like you're not making any progress. And to just feel like your environment or your DNA or something about you is just defective. Like that's genuinely what it feels like as a Gen Z person. Especially since I graduated during the pandemic. Like, you've genuinely spent years on this thing, and it still feels like you're not making any progress towards your goals. And I don't know what it is for you, but I know what it is for me. It's my fucking environment. It's like the fact that I still live with my parents. I thought that I was preparing myself or like being responsible, like putting myself in a situation where I could save money. But I'm starting to realize that human beings evolve through struggle. Some human beings experience too much struggle, too much trauma, and it really impacts their overall well-being. But I think that some human beings, when given too much privilege and comfort and stability, become very mediocre and just do not rise to the occasion. Because why would you put out more energy and resources than you genuinely need to survive on a day-to-day basis? It just goes against human psychology to do that. My friend and I were talking about this yesterday, the fact that the reason you're still not good enough, the reason I don't feel like I'm good enough, or that I'm like matching the pace of my peers, or that I'm matching the pace of just what I would want for myself in my own life, is the fact that I'm still choosing to be in this environment that's not pushing me. Look at me. I'm a fucking grown ass woman. Like, I'm fucking 27 years old in a fucking childhood bedroom that I was in when I was fucking like a teenager and a fucking like middle school student. Like, there's something off about this. And it's not just me. I feel like I've made other videos talking about how my generation is defective and how it feels like we are all just like regressed, or like we just refuse to grow up. I've seen so many memes like kind of speaking to this issue as well, that like you can be like a 30-year-old these days looks like they're a high school student. It's because not only are we all just like obsessed with nostalgia, and our adolescence and coming of age was characterized by horrible historical events like the COVID-19 pandemic, and the fact that like hyperinflation's at an all-time high, the job market is a dumpster on fire, and we have like an orange pig in the White House. Like, all of these things are very discouraging and like disturbing. Not just that, but like all the stuff that's happening in the world that we're aware of, like it weighs down on us mentally. It's hard to figure out what we should actually put our focus and energy into, because our community also considers us complicit or shames us if we don't pay full attention to everything. You get to a certain point where you are confronted with a decision, like, are you gonna be successful, or are you going to live in this delusional fantasy world where you don't actually have to participate in capitalism? Living at home with my parents really does not force me to confront those things at all. It allows me to just pet sit. I do Rover. I can just pet sit and do a little bit of freelance gig work on the side and build my little portfolio up and do some graphic design stuff that I like and do some video editing and have a YouTube channel and just kind of like live in my own like free-spirited creative world, and I don't have to struggle. Am I wrong for that? Like, is it wrong to choose the path of least resistance when there's so much going on in the world and it's just overwhelming to all of us? And it just really begs the question of like, what does deserve your attention? What does deserve your energy? What should you hustle and grind on for 5 to 10 years? Like, shouldn't you just choose the path of least resistance, the one that's going to give you the most enjoyment in life? Because we all only have one life to live. Do you want to spend your life suffering and struggling and like fighting against yourself because you're participating in a system that's just like destroying the planet, but at the same time is sitting on the sidelines this way, living with my parents, being like
distanced from it all. Is that also a form of being complicit in a way? Because I'm choosing to just like remove myself from the world. Like I'm staying over here where it's safe for me. So these are the things that I wonder, like, is my generation defective because we had too much access to information? We had too much exposure to the gruesome horrors of our society and the collective unconscious at too young and too early of an age through like unmonitored access to the internet that then followed into my adolescence, young adulthood, and coming of age years? Or is this just growing pains and the new world is being birthed before our eyes? I think both things are true, personally. And I genuinely think that a lot of us are just paralyzed by the anxiety of potentially failing. I think that stuff usually doesn't happen though. Like, at least in my experience, like, yeah, failure is a fact of life. Like, yeah, maybe you're gonna try to pursue your dreams and then have to like move back home with your parents. It happens to people all the time, and it's not the end of the world. But like, sometimes you just have to like sink or swim. Like, you really just have to go out there and do that shit. You have to actually go out there and make it happen. I think that we all have a path to success that might be unique to us and what our skill sets are and what we're most likely to do. But also, we need to redefine success in a way that actually works for us, because some of the most successful people in our society today are the most horrible human beings, the most morally devoid, disgusting, greedy monsters who are openly exploiting our planet and the human race for profit. And is that success? I don't think so. That's our problem. Like, if you're resonating with what I'm saying, that's our problem. Like, we are struggling to define success because we don't want to be a part of this fucking system. Like, we don't. Some would look at me and say, oh, you're a noble brokey. Like, you're just afraid of like money and success. And it's like, no, like I love money. Like, I am not like, I do not have a money block. Like, I love money, but I think it's important to make money in an ethical way, because you can exploit people. Most businesses do at some point find a way to exploit people legally. And I think there's nothing wrong with a generation that wants to redefine their own success in terms that are in alignment with their value system. I think that is how you bring about a cultural shift and a social change. A real social change is making a decision that you're not going to do something, making a decision to remove your energy from things that are not going to work. And like, maybe our generation is just going to be that generation that's not successful. And I don't want to make a blown out of proportion statement. There are plenty of Gen Zs that are successful, that are working jobs, that are happy with their 9-to-5s, that are doing what they want to do. Not all Gen Zs are like me. There's lots of people who are like successful, or like by their definition of success, but there's also a lot of us who are late bloomers or who are still figuring it out. And like that's kind of content that I make. It's for people that aren't just like normal without having to try, who aren't just like successful without having to try. I speak to people who are maybe neurodivergent or have a lot of crippling anxiety or have a lot of thoughts that hold them back in life. And I think for us, our path is going to be slightly different. And I think that's okay. I think that we are actually like some of the most important members of society, because we are consciously creating our world, our universe. We are not just blindfolded walking through life. We're active participants. We also actively withhold from certain things because it doesn't feel right. So I think that like the work that we should be doing is really thinking about like who we want to be in this world. And I think it's perfectly fine like to not know who you are yet, or to not feel like you're successful. Like, it's okay to feel like a failure, but I want you to know that you can change that situation if you want. It's really just about making a plan and understanding that you're not going to be comfortable. Like, moving out is not going to be something that's like a comfortable thing. Like, you might have to take a job you don't want to work sometimes just because you need the money. There might be situations where you have to like swallow your pride and ask people for help to make a decision to actually like stand on your own 2 feet and be independent. Is going to require a level of maturity and a decision that you're going to be okay no matter what. And I think a lot of us are scared of that responsibility, of the accountability that's required for that. And I think we're scared of we're just scared of like being in bad situations, which is understandable, but like life is going to require you to rise to the occasion. Like it's sink or swim. I think some things you need to just sink or swim. Like you need to just put yourself out there and see what happens. Know that like if you fail, like okay, like you fail, but then you learn something, like whatever. Like I just don't think that like trying to stay safe forever is a strategy. It's not a strategy, it's a way to stay stuck. So I basically said this yesterday, and it was a really great way to summarize just everything that I was saying so far, which is that living at home with my parents really allowed me to gain an understanding of the world, to figure out who I am. I took like a little hiatus from living life to kind of figure out who I am, and it allowed me to really find myself, I think. And I think the way things are painted on social media, the world just seems so scary. And I feel like when you're at home, you get to just pretend like you're a kid again. And obviously not everyone has a home that allows them to feel at ease. Sometimes being at home actually induces more stress for some people. So I get that, and I understand this message isn't for everyone. But I think what I'm realizing now is it really held me back. Or at least it didn't hold me back, but it's starting to. I feel like I've outgrown this phase, and I feel like I'm never going to learn how to swim if I don't actually go out into the water, you know? I need to feel what it feels like to be in the water, to kind of get a real understanding of how far I can go before drowning, but also how to swim, like actually learning how to swim and stay afloat, like on my own. Again, like they're not always going to be here forever. I'm not always going to have like, and even if I find like a partner or someone to help share expenses with, it doesn't mean that I'm never gonna have to fucking like fully rely on myself at certain points. And like this is just like a raw, honest reflection. It's not gonna resonate with everyone, but like if you're someone that, you know, you feel like you stayed at home a little too long, or you took some time off after college, or you had a little hiatus because you had a mental health breakdown or something, if you can relate to any of this, like let me know in the comments. Honestly, like feel like none of my friends can really relate to this that much. Some of them can, but, and I know I have a lot of friends that still live with their parents, but I also know a lot of people who don't. And so yeah, I just wanted to share my take because I know this is like an epidemic. Like I've seen statistics of like how bad it's really gotten, and yeah, due to like all the economic hardships and hyperinflation and gas prices and rent and housing costs and overall cost of living. So yeah, I just feel like this is something that I should probably talk about a little more, and also just documenting my journey of like waking the fuck up and like growing the fuck up, I guess. I have learned a lot in the last 5 years that I've been here. I just feel like it's long overdue. I'm building a business, and my goal with that is to become self-sufficient. I realized that I had to do this. Like I had to move back here because during college I was not mature. Like I was not ready. Honestly, I would have gotten myself killed or something. Like my mental health was so bad back then. But I'm a lot better now. I'm a lot better now. And I'm just excited to, you know, see what's next.